312. That's the exact number of drones that appeared on Israeli radar screens simultaneously at 3:47 a.m. local time. Not a wave, not a sequence. 312 individual targets, all airborne, all heading toward Israeli airspace from 4 different directions at once. And here's the number that makes every Israeli air defense commander understand immediately that the system just broke. Iron Dome has 40 interceptors per battery. Israel operates 10 batteries total, 400 interceptors maximum if every single battery is fully loaded, which they never are. 312 targets means you run out of interceptors before you run out of threats. The math is simple. The conclusion is devastating. Let me explain what just happened and why it changes everything. The Shahed 136, Iranian designation. NATO calls it the Geranium-2. Russia uses thousands of them in Ukraine. Now Iran is using them against Israel. This is not a sophisticated weapon. It's a loitering munition built from commercial components. An electric motor, GPS guidance, a 40-kilogram warhead, maximum speed 185 kilometers per hour. That's slow. Subsonic. Detectable. Everything a modern air defense system is designed to intercept. Except Iran didn't send one. They sent 312, all at once, from launch sites in Iraq, Syria, Yemen, and western Iran. Coordinated timing calculated, so every drone enters Israeli airspace within a 6-minute window. This is not about overwhelming defenses with speed. This is about overwhelming defenses with quantity. Iron Dome was designed to intercept short-range rockets fired from Gaza. Qassam rockets, Katyushas, Grad variants, threats that fly ballistic trajectories at predictable speeds toward predictable impact zones. The system works brilliantly against those threats. 90% intercept rate over 15 years of operational use. But Iron Dome was never designed for swarm attacks. The system's architecture assumes threats arrive sequentially, not simultaneously. Each battery can engage multiple targets, but there are hard limits determined by radar processing capacity and missile reload times. When 312 targets appear at once, those limits get reached instantly. Here's how Iron Dome works under normal conditions. Radar detects an incoming threat. Computer calculates the trajectory and determines if the threat will hit a populated area. If yes, the system launches an interceptor. The interceptor homes in on the target using its own radar seeker. Interception happens at altitude. Threat neutralized. The entire cycle from detection to intercept takes between 15 and 90 seconds depending on the threat's distance and speed. Then the battery reloads. Reload time is approximately 90 seconds per interceptor. During that 90 seconds, the battery cannot engage new threats with that launcher. This is not a design flaw, this is physics. You cannot reload a missile launcher instantly. Now apply that reload time to a swarm attack. 312 drones enter airspace over 6 minutes. That's 52 drones per minute on average. Iron Dome batteries fire their initial loadout, 40 interceptors per battery across 10 batteries, 400 interceptors total. Best case scenario, those 400 interceptors destroy 400 targets if every single shot achieves a kill. That still leaves 88 drones inbound. And those first batteries that fired are now in reload cycles. 90 seconds, where they cannot engage anything. During those 90 seconds, the remaining drones continue flying toward their targets uncontested. By the time batteries complete reloads, the drones are already too close for effective intercept geometry. The engagement window closes. The drones get through. But the scenario is actually worse than that because Iron Dome does not achieve 100% intercept rates against drones. Against rockets, 90%. Against drones, the rate drops. Drones fly slower, lower, and with different radar signatures than rockets. The Iron Dome interceptor is optimized for fast-moving ballistic targets. Against a slow-moving drone flying at 200 meters altitude, the intercept geometry is wrong. The closing speed is wrong. The engagement profile doesn't match what the system was designed for. Real-world intercept rates against Shahed 136 drones are estimated at 70 to 85%. Use 80% as the working number. 400 interceptors at 80% success rate means 320 successful intercepts. 312 targets means 8 drones get through even in the absolute best-case scenario, where every battery is fully loaded and every engagement happens under ideal conditions. The reality is messier. Not every battery is positioned to engage every target. Geographic coverage has gaps. Some batteries are protecting northern cities against Hezbollah threats. Some are protecting southern cities against Gaza threats. When drones come from 4 directions simultaneously, batteries can only engage threats within their coverage zones. A battery protecting Haifa cannot intercept a drone heading toward Eilat. The total interceptor count becomes irrelevant when the threats are distributed across the entire country. Each region faces its own local math problem. How many interceptors in range versus how many targets inbound? And in multiple regions simultaneously, the math doesn't work. Iran designed this attack specifically to exploit these limitations. The drone types are all Shahed 136 variants. Identical radar signatures, identical flight profiles, identical speeds. This is deliberate. It prevents Israeli air defense from prioritizing high-value threats because every target looks exactly the same on radar. There's no way to distinguish between a drone carrying a 40-kilogram warhead and a drone carrying a decoy payload. Every target has to be treated as lethal. Every target has to be engaged. This forces Israel to waste interceptors on decoys, further depleting the magazine before real threats are neutralized. The launch timing tells you this was planned months in advance. Drones launched from Yemen travel 1,800 kilometers to reach Israeli airspace. Flight time at 185 kilometers per hour is approximately 9 hours. Drones launched from western Iran travel 1,600 kilometers. Flight time approximately 8 hours. Drones launched from Syria travel 400 kilometers. Flight time approximately 2 hours. To achieve simultaneous arrival, the launch times have to be staggered precisely. Yemen launches first. Iran launches 1 hour later. Syria launches 7 hours after that. All calculated so the swarm converges on Israeli airspace within the same 6-minute window. This level of coordination requires integrated command and control across 4 different countries. It requires secure communications that Israeli and American intelligence could not intercept and disrupt. It requires confidence that the drones will not suffer mechanical failures during flight that would destroy the timing synchronization. Iran just demonstrated all of that capability. The cost exchange ratio is the number that should terrify Israeli defense planners. One Shahed 136 drone costs approximately $20,000. Iran manufactures them domestically using commercial components sourced from China and Turkey. Production rate is estimated at 200 units per month. One Iron Dome interceptor costs approximately $4 million. Israel does not manufacture these domestically. They are produced in the United States and shipped to Israel under military aid packages. Production rate is limited by American industrial capacity. When Iran fires 312 drones costing $20,000 each, the total cost is $6.2 million. When Israel responds by firing 400 interceptors costing $4 million each, the total cost is $1.6 billion. Iran just forced Israel to spend $1.6 billion to defend against a $6 million attack. That is a 258 to 1 cost exchange ratio in Iran's favor. This ratio is unsustainable. Israel's entire defense budget for 2026 is $24 billion. One attack consumes 6% of the annual budget in 40 minutes. Iran can manufacture replacement drones for $6 million in 3 weeks. Israel cannot replace 400 interceptors for $1.6 billion in 3 weeks. American production timelines are measured in months, not weeks. The stockpile depletes faster than it can be replenished. Every subsequent attack forces the same calculation. Fire interceptors and go bankrupt, or conserve interceptors and accept that drones will hit their targets. Either choice is a loss. The attack also depletes American interceptor stockpiles that Israel relies on for resupply. The United States maintains a strategic reserve of Iron Dome interceptors to support Israel during sustained conflicts. That reserve is finite. When Israel fires 400 interceptors in one night, the United States ships replacements from the reserve. But the reserve is being drawn down simultaneously to support Ukraine's air defense needs. Patriot missiles, NASAMS interceptors, all coming from the same limited stockpile. America cannot manufacture interceptors fast enough to support 2 major conflicts simultaneously. The production capacity does not exist. This means Israel is competing with Ukraine for the same pool of interceptors. Every missile sent to Kiev is one less missile available for Tel Aviv. Iran understands this. That's why the timing of this attack matters. The swarm attack also reveals a new level of tactical sophistication in Iranian drone operations. Previous attacks used drones individually or in small groups, easy to track, easy to intercept. This attack used 312 drones executing a coordinated flight plan across 4 theaters. The drones maintained formation spacing to prevent mutual interference. They flew at altitudes calculated to avoid radar detection for as long as possible. They used terrain masking when possible, flying low over valleys to stay below radar horizon until the final approach. Some drones flew decoy paths, drawing interceptors away from the main swarm. This is not hobbyist-level drone operation. This is military-grade swarm tactics executed at scale. Israeli Air Force jets attempted to intercept drones before they reached Iron Dome engagement zones. F-16s flew combat air patrols along the border, using cannon fire to destroy drones at distance. This worked against some targets, but fighter jets have limited loiter time. They carry limited ammunition. An F-16 carries 500 rounds of 20mm ammunition. Each burst to destroy a drone uses approximately 100 rounds. That's 5 drones per aircraft maximum before it has to return to base to rearm. Against 312 targets, you would need over 60 F-16 sorties to cover the entire swarm. Israel does not have 60 F-16s available for immediate scramble. The jets that did launch destroyed an estimated 40 to 60 drones. Valuable, but not enough to prevent the rest from reaching their targets. The targets themselves tell you what Iran was trying to achieve strategically. The drones did not target population centers. They targeted infrastructure, power substations, water treatment facilities, communication towers, fuel depots. These are not high casualty targets. These are economic disruption targets. Taking out a power substation does not kill thousands of people, but it blacks out entire cities for days. Destroying a water treatment plant does not cause immediate deaths, but it forces millions of people to rely on bottled water while repairs happen. Hitting fuel depots does not collapse the economy, but it drives energy prices up and creates shortages that ripple through every sector. Iran is demonstrating that they can inflict sustained economic damage without triggering the kind of mass casualty event that would justify an overwhelming Israeli military response. The psychological impact on the Israeli population is immediate and destabilizing. For 15 years, Israelis have trusted that Iron Dome would protect them. When sirens sounded, people went to shelters and the defensive systems intercepted the threats. That trust just broke. When 300 drones launch simultaneously and some get through despite every defensive measure, the population realizes the system has limits. And once people understand the system can be overwhelmed, the sense of security that allowed normal life to continue under threat evaporates. Parents start questioning whether it's safe to send children to school. Businesses start questioning whether it's safe to operate. International airlines start questioning whether it's safe to fly into Ben Gurion Airport. The economic damage from this psychological shift can exceed the physical damage from the drones themselves. Iran now has a reproducible attack model that works. 300 drones, coordinated launch, swarm tactics, infrastructure targets. This attack can be repeated weekly, monthly, whenever Iran decides the strategic conditions justify it. And each repetition forces Israel into the same unsustainable cost exchange. Each repetition depletes interceptor stockpiles that cannot be replaced quickly. Each repetition reinforces to the Israeli population that the defensive systems cannot guarantee protection. This is not a one-time demonstration. This is a new operational capability that reshapes the entire strategic balance. Share this analysis, because mainstream media is reporting this as a failed Iranian attack, where most drones were intercepted. They are showing you the successful intercepts. They are not showing you the mathematics that prove those intercepts are unsustainable. Both are true. Only one matters for what comes next. 312 drones, 400 interceptors, $1.6 billion spent, $6 million invested, and the next swarm is already being prepared.